will you lead us?
Yes.
In our pledge?
Okay, on your feet, please. Remove your headgear, face the flag, head high, shoulders front. Place your right hand over your heart and hold it with honor and glory and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you were.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to review, on the 22nd, did we approve the minutes from March 15th or no?
We didn't.
We didn't. Okay,
So they're in
Art
here.
and Sean, do you have any notes on the March 15 meeting minutes?
No, I'll move to approve the minutes from the March 15th, 2023 meeting as presented.
I'll second that.
And I will not vote since I was not
Not
here.
here. So aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Special meeting on March 22nd. Do you all have notes on the minutes of those meetings?
Yes, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to also move to approve the special meeting minutes from the Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023 meeting as presented.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Moving on to public comment. A reasonable amount of people won't require cards today. Would anyone care to go first or say anything? Or
We
you do
have
have
two
cards.
that were submitted. No, we have two
They're
Oh,
written.
printed.
read all out. Yes.
submissions.
Okay.
Right.
Let's go ahead and start with those.
And I'll start the timer for you.
Oh, do you want that one or this one?
I want that one.
This one, actually 1, 2, 3, and then you just press that button.
Okay.
Alright, the first minutes read is comment from Lee Rosenberg, a letter sent. Parents' rights are political agendas. Sweeping across the country today is a question that lies deep in the minds of many. It embraces perhaps the most important component of our society, education. Since we lie at number 38 in the Western world in a ranking of education, one must wonder what may be the reason for this poor and dangerous statistic. After many months of research, I have been able to aggregate most of the answers given to this question by very admirable and highly regarded analysis. It appears that qualified graduates who seek employment after completing their education and various qualifying degrees avoid entering the teaching profession. There appears to be three major reasons for this unfortunate and historic condition: lack of respect, compensation, and parental interference. I believe that all three of these rationales can be found in the last. Parents can themselves demonstrate respect for those who are responsible for the education of their children and pass that view on to their children. Pressure for better compensation, both through contact with school administrations, union, and political institutions, can easily increase levels of compensation. And lastly, political agendas promoted by parents are lethal when brought to bear on school administrations. Of course, parent rights sounds unobjectionable. Parents certainly should have rights, but this term has become a rallying cry for banning books, censoring curriculums, and suppression of politically undesirable forms of knowledge. We need only to closely examine Florida and its Governor Ron DeSantis' hotly pursued pressure on schools, librarians, teacher, and school administrations. Here is a pristine example of the legislation extension of parents' rights. It is consequently interesting to note that the parents' rights movement does not involve those parents who want schools to be more open and embracing of openness and accommodating of gender non-conforming students. We never hear it invoked for those who want their kids to learn more about race, identity, and the truth of American history, or parents who want schools to provide a wide library of books and educational materials for their students. The so-called parents' right is in reality a motor to propel a minority of conservative reactionaries in their quest to command an educational and curriculum devised imposition on their communities. It is a right in reality for some parents to dominate others. States and their legislatures are taking up this aspect of the cultural war to gather the votes of these people. The nonsense about wokeness, I challenge the attackers to define it. DEI, CRT, and other memes of the right that have been read or defined can be dangerous since they are easy to rally around. without a lot of thought or analysis. When the boiling down stops, this parents' rights stuff is not about parents. It's a fight over whether we shall have an equitable, democratic system of education or whether we will allow reactionary minority to lead us away from those goods to the evils of inequality and hierarchical structures that dismantle our most important and cherished institutions.
Is there a summary sentence, or was that it?
That was it.
That was it. Okay,
Oh,
great.
good.
Wow,
I
Gina.
think it ended with, there were 3 words
Okay.
that I didn't read, but
Okay.
it just
enough.
ended
Will
there.
this start again if I just push?
Yes,
I have to
I
add
just
3
have
minutes?
to add 3 minutes, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Got it.
This is from Rebecca Costa. Dear Ballard School Board, I strongly encourage you to vote in favor of forming a committee to review the current Ballard school policies, with parent rights to be reviewed first and foremost. It would be detrimental for you to ignore the numerous parents who have voiced their strong concern over the past several board meetings. We need to take action now and make the appropriate changes to ensure parents are notified anytime a non-faculty member addresses our students. I will continue to push for policies that require full transparency within the classroom until changes are made. Once again, parents are their children's first and most influential teachers, and active parent involvement in the education of their children contributes greatly to student achievement and a positive school environment. Best, Rebecca Smith.
Thank you.
Those are the 2.
Is there further public comment? Anybody? You guys just came to see us because you like us?
Okay, can I
Yes, ma'am, please do.
have to go up there? I just wanted to,
Come on up.
Come on up, and please state your name if you could.
Karen Lehman. I just wanted to, for the discussion over whether or not to form a committee, I guess I just wanna voice my concern with what was kind of mentioned earlier. It was said so eloquently, and I won't do that, but, the minority being the voice that's the loudest right now. So it would just be, you know, if you're walking into this decision to make a committee, just be cautious in the awareness of what the minority versus the majority is here. I think that will be the most challenging part in forming that committee, making sure it's a true representation of the percentages of opinion. And I don't know how you would go about doing that fairly and equitably. So that's I'd say my biggest concern with making this decision to form a committee. I do have some worries that the committee would not be a true representation of the community. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Wrapping up public comment. One more to enter. Did you care to, do you have public comment? Oh, you know, I'm sorry, you don't have to, but before I close public comment, I didn't know if there was something you wanted to address the board. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Good.
Thank you. Make sure we all have the option.
Hot seat.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead. Do you all have public comment?
No.
Oh.
Are these math competitors?
Are
These are
you,
fourth graders.
are you guys
They're
here
here
to
to help
announce
with this.
something to the board?
They are.
Come on in.
There's
Yes.
somebody else
But
here
we
too.
have.
Oh, we have
Kayla
another one coming?
and Kanan too,
Yeah.
so we
You
have
come
2
on
from
up.
So do you wanna come over, Eli?
Ah, come on in.
Two of your,
Come on, we're gonna have you come over here so the camera
Right-
is certain
right
to
over
be able to
here.
capture
Oh,
you.
he's got a trophy in
Come
there.
close to the podium. There you go.
All stand right down the line. Just look right out. There you go.
Fantastic. And?
We won the we won the Ballard, we won the county math Super Bowl. North County math Super Bowl for Ballard School, and we won first place.
Can you name your team members?
This is Eli. This is Prescott. This is Michaela, and I'm Kaden.
And are you all members of the 5th grade team or the 4th grade
We are
team or the
4th
6th grade team?
We're 5th graders.
Okay. And were there teams from the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade represented?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have everybody's name, so I'll read them too to help. But
And
Wow.
is it true that the school itself, you all three teams working in unison, actually swept the whole math Super Bowl?
Yes.
So individually, I think there were awards given to each class.
He got one.
He did? Wow, fantastic.
And
And
where was
then-
this held? Where did you hold the contest?
The contest was held in Santa Maria.
North County. So all the schools pretty much from the San Ynez Valley north to Santa Maria, and you came out ahead.
200
Two-
200 students, and 20 schools is what was published.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
first
let's
place.
have
Do you want to leave
Congratulations.
the trophy here
Sure.
with us for now?
You'll get that back.
Hard to part
Yeah.
with.
All right.
Well, that is really great, guys. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing with us the good news. Keep it up.
Okay.
Give your other teammates a handshake for all of us as well, too, please.
Yeah. I will announce to you the other, so we had some individual winners. We had Griffin Rowells win the first place individual for 6th grade. We had Luke Cruz won 2nd place individual for 6th grade. Prescott White, right here, raise your hand, Prescott, won 4th place individual for 4th grade. And then our 4th grade won 4th place in the group competition. Our 5th grade won 1st place in the build competition. And our 6th grade won 1st in the group competition and also 1st in the build competition. So-
Impressive.
and then our school won 1st place overall. So
Sweepstakes.
that was a lot, I know. So, thank you guys for
Excellent.
coming.
Big day. Good job, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. Dismissed. That's
Right.
cool.
I have a picture that I'll pass down, that's all of them. I don't know, I think Sean already saw art, but that way you can see our whole team.
Look at all those
That's
small-
my kid.
Absolutely.
For the record.
And also I will add,
Shameless.
Mr.
Shooting the
Yeah,
basket.
and our council assembly, Mr. Savasa reminded everyone that the team, only 4 kids on the team went to the competition, but the teams were actually larger. So each of the classes had a larger team of kids who were practicing and supporting.
Oh, I
And
see.
so in the end, those are the
Squad.
4 who went to the competition, but the larger team supported the Master Bowl. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, they choose, they
Oh.
choose to spend their free time, their lunchtime to practice and work and learn extra
So
challenging
this
math
is almost like a
problems.
club, like a math club. Wow.
Almost like a math club that they,
Excellent.
and knowing they may not get to go to the competition, they still choose to partake in
Excellent. Wow.
accelerated math.
Can I just add too that the teachers provided gave up their own time in order to provide that additional support so the students could achieve such high.
Yes.
Thank you, teachers.
Oh, wait.
and
Alright.
also some parent coaches
No, the teachers.
gave up some time as well.
Okay, information section.
You're looking at our calendar there, we have, it's a little chunk and yet I feel like there's so much going on. So, today we did have our kindergarten play, Earthworms, Make America Great. It's fantastic. Actually, it really was, it was adorable. There's a couple meetings here that I have. This next week is our Lion King Junior performances on Friday night and Saturday night. And Friday day, our school will be walking over to watch the Lion King performance. So we have 3 performances coming up. There are 43 students in our Lion King production this year. So that's a lot and we're super excited. I have a student council meeting on Monday, May 1st. On Tuesday, May 2nd, we're starting something new. I have a lot of parents who want to come tour the school, and so Gina and I chose a date, and we're just gonna provide a tour that is after school hours, so it won't be interrupting classrooms, but just for the people who have been calling and inquiring and want their names on wait lists and such, so that we are just providing some basic information to them. So we'll be doing that on May 2nd. Right now, we have our spring sing scheduled for May 4th. And that will be here at school during the daytime, and then starting mid-May will be our CASP testing window for grades 3 through 6. And then Wednesday, 5/17, we have another school board meeting at 3:30. And then after that school board meeting on the 25th, I don't have it listed here, but that's our open house. So those are the things that are coming.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any comments or correspondence? I would just like to make note of, 2 dates at the high school that, just that maybe our administration would be interested in. One is May 21st, the baccalaureate, and the second is June 1st, which is the high school graduation. Should anybody from our principal or admin be interested in attending the, again, just back into the idea that these are all of our kids
Yeah,
as they move through.
I'll be attending the senior awards ceremony. I believe that's
The 19th.
I'll attend that.
Awesome.
I
And then there's the solving school graduation as well, which is
Yes, which I
June
attend,
9th.
right, so I attend the Solving School graduation. We also have coming up is the kids who are graduating from high school come back for the time capsule.
Mm.
And that happens in May, and so then they open up their time capsules and we
Is
have a
that gonna be on the
celebration also.
25th
Actually,
as
no, I
well?
think it's, I didn't write it down because it's after the next board meeting. I'll let you know at the next board meeting and I'll try to
Okay.
let you all know, so if you want to attend that, but I think does anybody know, the 21st?
It is
Jenny?
on May 11th
Sorry, May 11th.
at 6 o'clock.
Oh, so it should be on here. Thank you.
Okay.
Initially, it was gonna be during the, back to school night, but it got moved.
Okay.
So, and our previous kindergarten teacher comes, our current kindergarten teacher's here, and then several other staff members, and they come, and all of the students who graduate from Ballard, who are graduating from high school, come back and open their time
That's
capsules.
cool. It's cool.
Yeah, they create a,
Time capsule.
yes, like information about themselves at 5.
Oh, wow.
And then they come back
Fun.
and write it. Right.
It's quite hilarious.
Still going on?
What?
Still going on?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Okay, PTA report.
Kaylin's not here, but she sent me a message, so I'm gonna read to you the PTA report. She said a couple things. One, the candidates for the exec board for the 2023-2024 school year have been submitted. They're in the process of updating the Ballard PTA bylaws. They believe the final net amount raised at the barn bash was $60,000, which is $5,000 more than the last one in 2020. And then the upcoming events is Teacher Appreciation Week is coming, open house on May 25th. PTA provides the food for our open house. And then Fun Day is the last sort of big PTA event, and that's on June 2nd from 1 to 3, and the planning is in process there. Oh, the glasses.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
I don't, other than the Mass Super Bowl, I just bumped that to the top so people could go if they wanted, but I don't have any other, reports at this time. I do have correspondence though in the next one, and I did give you some Schools for Sound Finance, articles if anybody has any questions about those. Do you wanna move on to correspondence?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Moving on to correspondence.
I have the positive certification from, SBCEO for our, second interim budget. And then I also included for you the, gamut service agreement and policy manual development agreement with the California School Board Association. So that's CSBA, and I'm just providing you that's what we approved the last meeting. I just wanted you to see the contract that I signed, with them, and then we're in the process of trying to pick dates when they are available and we are available. Los Olivos is also doing this exact same process, and so we are trying to see if we can partner with them. If we can get one more school, the cost will go down, but at this time, we are not aware of another school, but Los Olivos is doing it also. So if we can get one more school, I think it would behoove us to wait even a little bit to try to get a third one. So Ray and I are asking at the next county superintendent meeting to see, it doesn't have to be in our valley even, it could be in the county with us here, they can come to us, and it would lower the cost by a couple $1,000s. So it would be worth it to try to Even if it delays it a little bit, we won't let it delay too long, but if it delays it a little bit and somebody wants to do it with us, I think it's at least important to explore.
Cool. Consent agenda?
Okay, the warrants.
So here's the list of warrants. We have $1,050 to art outreach for art instruction, $309.54 to Georgian for St. Patrick's Day supplies, $4,309 for Lego education. That was I think I told you about it last time that I okayed Mr. Savasso's class to purchase some Lego robotics, and I think they've been enjoying working with those, so that's great. $1,553.68 to ProCare for janitorial supplies, $1,768.37 to school, Southwest School Supply for class and office supplies. The $21,308.40 you'll see on here twice. That's our monthly CISC health insurance payment. $54.04 to Gina Floyd for postage and purchase at Valley Hardware. $6,235 went to KCSOS, which is the Camp Keep. That money will be reimbursed by the PTA, and the parents actually effectively, the fundraising plus what the parents paid will pay that amount, but that is what we paid the check to them for now. $172.50 to me for health reimbursement. $975 to Alejandra Santos, she's our Spanish instructor. $55.86 to Anissa Ballinger for library supplies. $147.52 to Gina for admin supplies at Costco. $2,240 to Mac Duncan for music instruction. $158.54 to Mandy Young for medical reimbursement. $554.22 to me for Amazon purchases, which was a light bulb for the projector and some other things, and then all staff appreciation lunch, and then one more CISC payment. Any other on the list there that you have questions about?
And the CISC, so it's 2 in the month, but so the normal monthly is like 42 something, or
No,
is it we
normal
just?
month's 21,000. It's just that this overlap, that it was the March and then I think the March and then the April one. So it's just once a month.
Timing,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
right.
just timing. Yeah. One was delayed a little bit because of spring break, I think.
So I can make a motion to approve the warrants.
And then we also
Okay.
have the Williams Act
For the next page.
complaint
Yeah,
page
that-
there too. We haven't had any complaints, so that one's there too. I don't see that here.
No.
Well, I have that and it needs to be signed.
Yes, and let me have a copy on the board. I'll just make sure we're.
Okay, it's on the agenda and I just have the paper that I need to give to you, but the quarterly report for Williams uniform complaints, we don't have any complaints.
Okay.
Right, well, so I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for warrants 731795 through 734868.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The paper actually is here, we'll have it signed at the end, but it's just right after the warrants and the payroll. The Williams form is here.
Oh.
It is in here, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, administrative matters.
So that's the discussion and decision regarding board policy review committee, which some was spoken to a little bit during the public comment. At the previous special board meeting on March 22nd, it was suggested that the board consider making an advisory committee to review board policies. And so we're asking the board to discuss that and to take action tonight.
I will first open it up to any comment in the room regarding Jenny.
So after the last board meeting and the idea about the advisory committee coming out to the board, I did send an email out to all of our certificated teachers and just asked them what their thoughts were, if they were interested in the committee, if they felt that it was an appropriate or needed action for our school. And I did not receive anything back from the teachers. So there are no teachers who are showing interest in the committee at this time. I do think that speaks to where our focus and our intentions are with this issue. At this time, we do not feel it's necessary to form an advisory committee.
The teachers here, as you guys are well aware, have full plates, and we trust the elected board members to listen to the input from the stakeholders and to make decisions regarding the board policies, so that we can focus on what we do best, which is teaching all of the wonderful students here at Ballard. Any questions?
Not at this point, thank you.
Thanks.
There exists a parents, teachers, or parents' rights policy already. Will that be addressed as a separate issue or an included issue with the gamut?
With the CSBA and the gamut, so the gamut is the subscription, yeah, so
Right.
the CSBA is the institution that helps us with that process, and yes, it will be one of the policies. They go from up to 9,000, so there's lots of policies, but it will be one of the ones that will be updated to reflect the latest laws in California, so that it is, that it's,
Compliant.
yeah, it's
Compliant.
compliant with
Okay.
the law.
All right. That's all I have.
Any thoughts or questions further? on-
No. I'm trying to figure out if we should even have an ad hoc committee until we get back a revised, updated, and compliant parents' rights document from the two groups you just mentioned, if it's even necessary. We could be working on something that isn't even legally binding. Okay, I have no other questions.
Sean?
I have nothing to add to that. I guess I would say that when considering committees, subcommittees, councils, we have to be careful because it's a slippery slope when we start identifying just specific issues that can bleed further into other topics that it becomes a free-for-all, and I think it is a distraction for our teachers. It is a distraction for the administrators of the school, and I don't think at the end of the day it helps our children at the school. And so at this point I am not supportive of adding a parents' rights committee or a subcommittee, but we'll have to discuss further with this board, but that is my position at this time.
I would say, again, reviewing, following the last meeting and, taking a dive and doing a little bit of research on school boards, the way in which they arrive at policy, positive uses of committees. I would say that most of what I have come across, and which makes sense to me, is that the use of such committees is there to lighten the workload of a school board that is in a particularly large district and encumbered by multitude of situations and complexity of problems, and I feel that we are fortunate here to be sitting on a board that essentially is responsible for this building and this small staff and small administration. So I don't feel overburdened. I do, however, value the opinions of everybody in our school community. And I think that it is important that they all feel that they are able to vocalize what they are thinking, and viewpoints on, matters within the school. But I'm comfortable with the governing body that is, in place and elected for a reason to continue to shape policy. I'd like to remind everybody, and I have felt this over the years, and I really would hope that our school community does feel it, that, again, based on our size, our accessibility is pretty great. You can go direct to the principal on almost any day or any drop-off or pick-up. The PTA meetings are open and available and always published. These board meetings, again, we welcome all input. It's often nice to have visitors, because sometimes months go by at a time where it's just the four of us at a table wondering, you know, again, take that as a compliment. But I would just like to remind the school community that those platforms exist for voices to be heard at all times. And further, in lieu of a committee, I would almost recommend maybe a principal's coffee once a quarter or once a month, or as demand, you know, presents itself, just to make sure again that there is that engagement with the community. I know there's LCAT meetings. I know there's a number of things that happen, and again, the feedback is often, you know, there's tends not to be a ton of feedback. So as I said in the last meeting, I don't want to overreact to something minor when the case history suggests that the teachers are doing a very fine job in managing their classrooms. And if anybody else follows schools in this valley, which again, I know we're all separate districts, but I feel like we are all one in the same ultimately. This week, the principal at the high school, who's been there less than a year at this point, resigned. And that is a great loss for this community, because he is a very fine educator. And I don't know his politics, and I frankly don't care, because he was most interested in academics and improving the day-to-day education of our students. And his letter states that, you know, private interest groups and people pushing agendas essentially pushed him out, and it really is a loss for the valley and for every student, even these elementary students. So I don't want to fall into that same trap. I want to continue to let our teachers, who again we've put our full confidence in, to do their job without making it more difficult for them to do so. So at this point, I do not support a committee to review board policy. And anything else?
No?
I'd like to then make a motion to not take action on creating a board policy review committee.
I don't even know if you have to do that.
I think,
Just
Is that
a non-action.
Non-action.
If the suggestion is that the Form 1, I guess you would deny the formation of I don't know if that's too strong a word, but that would not approve the forming of a committee, I guess is what you would say, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to make a
We
motion to
better-
not approve the forming of a board review committee.
Board policy.
Board policy
for
review committee.
parents' rights.
Well, as stated in the last meeting, I am firmly against a committee to review one policy within the 900.
Oh,
So I firmly stand against that. I was possibly, again, lump sum the entire 900 pages of policy, you know, taken as a whole. I think that's where we ended at the special meeting was, you know, but I am definitely not interested in pulling this one policy out and, you know, forming a committee to further debate. I mean, I think we've heard in the last couple of meetings how people feel about it and what their thoughts are on both sides. And I don't know that more information would come forth out of a committee just designated to look at that specific policy.
May I suggest that we have a motion that says we do not address an ad hoc committee that deals with the Ballard School District board policy or parental rights until we even have an updated one.
I think that's up to Tracy and
Sean, I mean, I think we should have at least an updated board policy before we don't even look at it. That's all.
So, right, which was
Yeah.
also largely discussed at the last meeting. So, I am in agreement. I think what's presented before us today is a board policy review committee.
Amongst the board members,
A committee within the board members?
yeah. Not
you
a
are already that.
I mean,
That's
there's-
already,
That
yeah.
already is your
Okay.
job.
Right,
You will
right.
review the board policies. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
when when Gamut updates our policies, they will be brought to us in sections to then
Okay.
review,
All right.
vote on, accept, alter.
All right, that's good.
Again, just stuck on words. I would not approve the formation of a board policy review committee.
Not approve. I know, so then all
I'm
of that,
sorry.
just like, why don't we just, I don't know if I'm saying the right.
I would
thing,
like
but
to
think-
not take action on the formation
Okay,
of a board policy review committee.
so maybe you can all agree to no action then? I don't,
Yeah.
I don't.
No action.
Sean, what do you
It's
think?
a negative motion.
I know.
I know, it's
So
just, it
does
says, you know,
yeah. So where are we at on administrative matters? We're discussing
Letter
and
A.
decide a decision regarding a board policy review committee. The board discusses and takes action. Yeah.
Isn't it that it's been requested that we discuss
Yeah,
and possibly create or agree to create a parents' rights committee to review policies? I think, at least from what I've heard from myself and Tracy, is that we're saying no to that. That there is at least, there is not an interest to create.
Right, and I don't think it needs a motion, I think you just get to say you just are
That's just
denying
for-
that.
Not
I don't know
taking
how
public
Jenny
comment.
writes that.
I think you just, I think you just, yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out, yeah.
All right.
I think it doesn't, I don't think it requires a motion.
Motion.
I know,
All right, but I understand.
says recommendation to take
Okay.
action. I'd like
Okay.
to not take action. I know.
I understand. All right.
Okay, the second reading of the school calendar.
So I have it back to you, and, so this would be our final review. I haven't had any feedback about our school calendar, so I'm presenting it to you to be approved as the second reading so that I can post it and publish it.
And again, just to reiterate, we are essentially on, in terms of breaks, following
The high school.
the high school.
Yeah. And then for us solving school, since those are kids. go
Correct.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of the 23-24 school calendar.
I'll second that.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, business matters.
I included again the 4 funds just for your review, because I always include them, but we did just go over our budget with a lot of detail at the last meeting. But I included those for your review if you have any questions about our 4 funds.
I do not. Guys?
No, I did not have a comment on it.
CompuVision?
Yes, so then I also included, this is part of the original contract that was approved by the previous board for the 4-phase of CompuVision. This part we sent out actually to E-rate, so it wasn't necessarily gonna be CompuVision's, award, but they did win the award for this part of the contract as well through a competitive bidding process that was run through the E-rate
So
consultant. Gary
E-rate
Michaels.
sources bids.
E-rate, yes, so they run the process, so it was a competitive bidding process. We had people come to walkthroughs of the area and look at, the facilities, and we had, ultimately two companies that submitted the bids and came, the walkthrough was a required component. So two companies that submitted the bid and came for the walkthrough. And so I did a competitive bidding process, and CompuVision was the low bid, as well as they are most familiar with our school and so they won a few extra points for being the only one who's already done work here. So CompuVision did win the bid, and this is that bid. E-rate will pick up 50% of it. So so this does help us with that whole phased project.
And remind me, what phase is this?
This is the end of phase
This is
2.
the end of phase 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
end of phase 2. So we'll be done with phase 2 at the end of this work.
Okay.
And then I'm seeing installation, is that it's all new hardware?
No, it's these white spiders that are above you right now. I don't, they're called like wops. I don't know all the things that they're called, but these are older, and so even though we have changed so much of our infrastructure, it's still not working really as reliably as we want it to and need it to. So this is sort of the remaining piece that they're gonna replace all of these, and then the switches that go with them, and that upgrade is supposed to then make it so that our internet is more reliable than it still currently is, even after all that we've done.
And can they troubleshoot that, or do we assume it will be, and then if it's not?
They will. CompuVision is also, so this is separate work, this is like additional contract work. They are also the company that we contract with for our technology services, so that if there's troubleshooting to be done, they're the ones that come. And so if somebody's, we can't print, or we can't, our internet goes down, they're the people we call also. So they're also our service contract. So it's helpful that they're also gonna be doing the work, because they know exactly what was done and what the issues might be, so.
Okay.
I just wanted to keep you updated on that.
Thank you. Well, I'll move to approve the CompuVision contract with the E-rate covering 50% of the project.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the next contract is for our annual audit. This is the same auditor we've had for the last years that I've been here, but the previous to that as well, so that's Moss, Lake, and Hartsum.
Yeah.
And this is the contract that says that they will do our annual audit. It's required for us to do an annual audit, so it's not something we do.
And they performed the last audit,
Yes.
so their recommendations
Is to
from the
stay with
last
them,
audit.
because it's helpful when they
Yeah.
have the history, and I think maybe, it's so far in the last 2 years I've been here, the audit only takes a day instead of 2, and I think that has something to do with the fact that they're very
Familiarity.
familiar with
Uh-huh.
what we do here, so.
Okay. Then I'll move to approve the 2023-24 contract with Moss Levy and Hartsign for the annual audit.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to facilities.
Yes, so then the next one, I sent you over the break, that we had the eucalyptus trees that are back here. There was a 30-foot branch that fell onto this building that we're sitting in now. It did cause a small hole in the roof, not through the plywood, but it did come down to the plywood. Kim is going to, slurry or epoxy over that so that we don't have a leakage problem while we're waiting, but since we are, I don't know if you recall, but we had an emergency leak, and so we had that fixed over winter break when we were having all the rains, and now we will finish the roofing or have another bid for the rest of the roof that needs to get fixed. So when they're here, we will just have them come over and just fix that little piece. But the branch was large, and that was what we needed to talk about, trimming these trees. They're not our trees, they're the neighbor's tree. And they line this whole back of our property, and so I contacted her to see if she would split the cost with us, because it behooves us to trim the trees for safety of our students and our property.
But they're her trees.
They are her
So
trees.
you have to get consent
I have to get
and
consent.
maybe some
And I
compensation.
did want some compensation,
Right.
so I was hoping for 50-50, I didn't get 50-50. But she's willing to give us $2,500 of this $6,400 bid. She said that she's suffered a lot of property damage, and that she just doesn't have the money right now to do it herself, and I don't think it's in our best interest to wait to get it done. So I would propose that we go ahead and do the work. She's consented to it. and she is willing to let us. And then I was gonna over break when it was an emergency after that tree branch fell, but the ground was too soft for the company to come to use their equipment to get back here, cause those trees are really high, so,
And within the bid, is he topping them off, thinning them out? Do you know?
he's thinning them out.
Is he dropping
Yeah,
them?
she does not want them topped.
Okay.
She wants, this is her tree guy, he also happens to be our tree guy.
Yeah.
So we have sort of a mutual understanding that she doesn't want her trees to just be chopped and topped. So she is willing to work with him to get them safe. And then our Kim will also oversee the project too, to make sure that from our perspective that they are more safe.
Yeah, we have been talking about it for years
Yeah.
as well, so.
Yeah.
And the tree company will bill her directly and bill us directly.
I think the tree company will bill, oh, that's a good question.
They can.
I just wouldn't want to be trying to track her down for a
Thank you,
check.
yeah, I will ask them to, that's a great
Split
idea,
it
I'll
out.
ask them to just, that she has agreed to $2,500 and ask them to bill her, directly. Her name is Patty, I can't think of her last name, but, I will make sure that that's a good idea. Otherwise, I don't know how she's gonna pay us back and all of those things anyway, so that's great, thank you.
I'll move to approve the tree trimming estimate from Tierra Verde Tree Care with the balance after $2,500 being paid by the Ballard School District.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Personnel matters?
I sent informal resignation because I haven't gotten in writing yet, but I did speak with our first grade teacher who had twins recently, and she will not be returning to us, which is not surprising, but a loss nonetheless. And so we are in the process of opening that position. We just put it on EdJoin yesterday, and just as a reminder, EdJoin is a nationwide search to just cast the widest net that we can. We left the language the same as last time, which actually does include the terminology bilingual preferred, just to, it's not, it's certainly not mandated here, but it would be nice. And so we leave that language on there and just cast a wide net to see who applies. And then we will go through a hiring process. I do need one of the board members to join us for the panel to select the person, and we're hoping that it closes May 1st on EdJoin, and then I would like to have the interviews the following week. So I don't know if you guys could check your schedules and get back to me. I think it's generally a 2-day process. That it depends on how many applicants we get. So I'll keep you updated. Last time we did do a paper screening that you're all invited to, so we will all do a paper screening and then select the people we want to have an interview on. And then at least one board member needs to sit on that panel to select the teacher. It's not a first grade spot. One of our teachers has elected to move down to the first grade spot, so it's actually a 5th grade opening that we have.
All right, so if you just email all 3 of us, I'm sure one of us will find a way to fit it in.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be after school hours, so an afternoon.
Okay.
And just, again, to reiterate, EdJoin, we're hitting Sacramento and Red Bluff all the way to San Diego,
Actually,
New Mexico.
it does actually.
Florida.
It actually is a nationwide search. I think
Okay,
it
so
does.
anybody who's interested or looking for a job in this region can search and see it.
Right. And anybody typically, especially this time of year, because this is when everybody's looking for teacher jobs,
Right.
so it should yield many applicants, is my guess. That's what I'm thinking. I've had several people reach out to me already, so I think that we'll get
Okay.
a lot of applicants.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's no motion needed for that.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
The next I am asking for a motion on, it was brought up at the last board meeting and something that we've discussed at the previous board, and just moving ourselves, we did, just to remind everybody that we did have the diversity, equity, and inclusion, the opening doors professional development back in October. But it was brought at the last board meeting about the staff having training in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so I did research 4 training opportunities, They would be done during the summer. It would be optional for teachers, but I think what I'm asking the board is to consider a stipend to incentivize, I guess is the right word, to incentivize the teachers to do this training on their own time, not just the teachers. I actually would like it to be staff-wide. I think trainings are more effective when the whole school participates. I'm asking for input from you. I did run it by the teachers. They're four pretty varied opportunities, and if I can walk the board through them so that you have some idea of what I'm talking about. If there's any in particular that you don't care for, but I think offering multiple opportunities is another sort of, it's different levels of entry points so that people would want to participate. But I'm hoping that a stipend of $50 an hour for a staff member, and we can put a cap on it if you would like, to attend DEI trainings paid for with our educator effectiveness grant. So I have CARES Act money very specific towards educator effectiveness, and so I have money to spend on something, training like this. I did also share with the teachers conferences and other training, because part of our LCAP goal is to provide professional development. And so I did also tell the staff about other training opportunities as well. But those ones would not have a stipend attached to them. I would just pay for them to go to, let's say, the math conference or the Q conference, or there's a great teaching conference that's put on by CTA. So I think I came up, there were like, Jenny helped me, I think there were 7 other conferences that teachers could attend as well, also with this educator effectiveness grant. But aside from that, those ones I would just pay for them to go, and I'd have to pay for their hotel. Most of them are 2 days, so that there's a cost associated there. But this one, because they're all online, there is no cost associated. Well, some of them have a cost associated with them, but I would like to offer a stipend for teachers and staff to participate in these.
And that is voluntary.
It would be voluntary.
The other, I can't remember the term you used, not continued education, but the
Professional development.
Remind me if there is, do we say teachers, you should or must complete any staff development, or do we take care of that within our staff meetings? You provide a certain amount of ongoing staff development. I know it is part of our.
Some of it is mandated, like this year when we implemented Aries, they had to come for training because we had a whole new system and they had to learn how to use it. When we implemented our new science curriculum, the TWIG folks came out and, did a professional development that everybody came to. Last year I did pay the teachers per diem for them to come an extra day for Aries because I couldn't squeeze it into our professional development window, because the teacher work days at the beginning, sometimes I can use some of that, but I couldn't. And so I had to bring them back a day early last year, and so I had to pay them for their time to do that. It was board approved for them to come back, but that was because you can't take attendance if you don't know how to use the Aries program. Right. You can't make a report card. Those are the basic things that they have to participate in. These things are more. We do have teachers frequently, and on their own, they participate in their own professional development if there's something they're interested in, or if they're earning units so they can move themselves along the pay scale, so they're incentivized there, because the more units, they have to have 15 units to move a column. So we have a lot of our teachers are still taking classes so that they can continue to move. And then that we have the music and art money coming. It's about $80,000, and by June we need to come up with a plan for how we're going to spend that money. The staff and I have had conversations about that, considering updating our language arts curriculum, and so if we did something like that, there would definitely be professional development attached to that also. So we will talk about that part again.
I mostly just say it to hear it again, but I know that we're constantly talking about continuing
the county puts on a lot of professional development opportunities. I talked to Georgianne about a few, because there are some very specific right now for transitional kindergarten, because the TK program's expanding, and so the county is putting out a lot of professional development, like play-based learning and things for very specifically for kindergarten and TK. So and I tried to pick sort of a broad band also, cause I think the benefit to us is that we're a tiny little school, so trying to pay somebody to come for our 7 teachers is sort of not feasible, but sending 2 teachers to a conference is like, that's a third of the staff almost, right? So then that could be a big impact, and sort of the idea that they come back from a conference and share with us what they learned, then we're all learning too. So that's the benefit of them being willing. It's 2 days out of their classroom, that's hard, a lot of sub-plans. So I'm hoping that they will take me up on that, because I do have this educator effectiveness money, and so I have money for them to do these professional development opportunities, and I would like to move us along. We picked one on project-based learning, which came up in the LCAP. There's a conference down at High Tech High in San Diego. Those ones, they haven't released the dates. Is it the Good Teaching Conference? Not great. I was saying great teacher. Sorry, I was saying the wrong thing.
Only good.
Teaching. Not only good, not great. Just good teaching. They have
I'm
one
gonna
down.
go to the pretty good teaching.
They have
Get too
North
much.
County and they have South County, so one's in San Diego, I think one's in San Francisco, so that's the travel to get to that one. Both the math conference, which I've been to myself twice and I really, really loved. The math conference is in Palm Springs. The Q conference is all about technology, that one's in Palm Springs. So we just tried to find sort of a broad band of, those are general topics that teachers are interested in and can learn a lot from. You spend 2 days going to a math conference, you come back really excited about teaching math. So,
Well, I will say I very much appreciate your research on the DEI training that is available. I think you've given 4 great options. I wholly appreciate that it is optional.
Yeah.
And all of these opportunities, I think this is one of them. I think all of those opportunities for the teachers are great. And I would just say, let us know once in a while when somebody goes and learns something really cool and brings it back to our classroom, because I know there's a lot of cool stuff always coming up out there, and it's fun to hear it on this side. I would support a stipend for attending the DEI training.
the only exception I will say, the last one is all of these have certificates of completion, so I would be able to know who was taking them, and then we could, this one, if somebody opted to take the units instead of, and they were gonna use the units to move themselves over columns on the pay scale, then by the contract, I can't pay them, I can't simultaneously give them a stipend and pay for a course and have them move units. So if they want to use the units to move over, then they would pay for the course themselves, and I would not give them a stipend for that. So that's the only one that has units attached to it. The others would not be movement on the salary schedule anyway, they're just time. So I would let you know if somebody offered for that, but anyhow. I just wanted to say that part.
Wait, need a motion? One second.
Yes, we do.
So I motion to approve the $50 per hour for staff to attend DEI training stipend on a voluntary basis.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Student matters.
Great. I don't have any student matters at this time, but if we skip down to number 14, the next regular board meeting is scheduled for May 17th, that one's fine. I do have a snafu with the June meeting, because Monday, I scheduled them for June 20th and June 22nd. They have to have a 72-hour window between those meetings because of, the budget has to be approved with a 72-hour window between them, and the LCAP is also part of that meeting sequence. But Monday is Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday, so we can't have the board meeting on that Monday. And so I don't know if you guys wanna do them Tuesday, Friday instead of Tuesday, Thursday, or if you wanna bump them to the following week. I have till July 2nd to approve the board, so I have some time, but I don't know what your schedules are, so right now they're scheduled for Tuesday, Thursday, and they can't stay on those 2 days. Tuesday can stay, we can bump to Friday, but,
And are do we have restrictions on the time that we hold the meeting?
Could be any time school's
Okay.
out of session, so those
Okay.
ones are,
Let's,
we just
let's
have
try
to
to
notify.
organize that by email, because I won't be able to commit for a
Okay.
June date.
Okay,
So if you wanna
fair enough.
email
Okay,
confirm
I'll
for
email
June.
confirm and then I'll bring it to the May 17th board
Yeah.
meeting to officially change the meeting date.
Okay.
Alright. We are therefore adjourned,
Alright.
4:31.
Art
Yeah,
signature
I
on,
need to sign.
this was the board minutes that we just approved.
Approved
so that's the last
from